First, welcome in Poland, and let's start our speech. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all the kind words that you said about me and that I did not
Probably
understand.
was the same what I sent you in English.
And I hope that they were really kind words because I could not understand them. So, as you said, my name is Sofiane Sehili, and I have kind of a weird job because I'm a professional ultra endurance cyclist or bike packer or what you want to call it, adventure cyclist. And it all happened by accident. I decided that one day I wanted to ride my bike to go 50 kilometers away from my house and then 80 kilometers, and then I was on a trip. I was on a trip with a backpack somewhere in Thailand, and I decided to buy a bike. And I was like, it's only $100. If I don't like it, I can always sell it. And I stick with this bike for another 7,000 kilometers. And I completely fell in love with just moving as fast as my legs allow me to do. And it kind of changed completely my life from this moment on. And I didn't realize what was going to happen. But a few years later, after a few more trips that I did in Southeast Asia, in Iran, in Turkey, something kind of was born in me that I needed more. I needed to turn this desire of traveling the land with my bicycle into discovering some things about myself. And I started hearing about ultra cycling, about bike packing. I started hearing about people that seemed to me like they were superhuman because they were able to ride for 300, 400 kilometers in just one day. And when I heard about that, I was like, how is this even possible? How can a simple man or woman do something like that? And why can't I do it? And then I thought about it a little bit more. I was like, but if some people can do it, maybe I can do it. And this is how it started. It started out of a desire of finding out if the people that were doing that were superhuman or if they just had like a super will of doing that kind of stuff. And I wanted to emulate that. And so that's how I got into that sport, that kind of weird sport of ultra cycling, with my first race, which is called the Tour Divide. And it starts in Canada. It starts in the Rocky Mountains, and you cross a little part of Canada, and then you cross the entirety of the United States along the Rocky Mountains. So it's a lot of climbing. It's really rough roads. You have snow a lot of times in whether it's in Canada or in Montana at elevation, and then you end up in New Mexico, which is really hot, more than 40 degrees. And so you experience all of these extreme conditions in just the span of 2 weeks. And during my first ultra race, I found out a lot of things about myself. I found out that even if something was really, really hard, like much harder than I anticipated, because I came into this thinking, yeah, I can ride 200 kilometers a day, so I can ride 300. But it doesn't work like that, actually. It's not because you can ride 200 that you can ride 300 the same way. And I found that even though I suffered a lot, it was worth it. Because through that suffering, I was able to accomplish something that had me proud, and that had the people that I knew like completely astonished, completely in awe of what I was capable of doing. And it was just like the first step towards something that developed as a career. Again, it was by accident, because that one race, that Tour Divide, it was the first race that I ever heard about. And it started for me as like, this is the one. it's the Tour Divide. I want to do it. I want to win it. And I started kind of shifting the focus of my life towards this race and towards like, okay, one day, this race that I heard about somewhere when I was traveling, and I had no idea if I could do it. This is gonna be like the goal of my life to win it. And in that journey of training and doing other races to get ready for this one, I discovered a passion. I discovered a passion for that sport. I also discovered a community of like-minded people that came to the sport because it is a little bit special there, because it's a sport where, sure, we do compete with each others, but we first and foremost compete against ourselves. And this is also one of the reasons why I fell in love with this sport, is that in a lot of other parts of cycling, we don't really share that kind of camaraderie that we do in ultra cycling, where the fact that we suffer so much when we're out there on these roads, we do develop a bond, like we become brothers. Because even if I'm riding with some guy and he wants to be first and I want to be first, we know that it's not going to happen like now. It's going to happen maybe in 5 days, maybe in 10 days. But now what's going to happen is like we just need to make it through the day. And we know that we're both suffering the same way. And so we go through that suffering, and that suffering brings us closer. And we share some stuff. And in the end, you know what? The fact that this guy here wants to be first and that I want to be first, it's gonna push me even more. It's gonna bring the best out of me. And these ingredients, the fact that I met these people, I met this community, and I discovered so much about what you can do, what you can achieve when you have the right mindset. I started, doing more and more races, and it turns out I was good at them. It turns out that since I was good at them, I did more, and people started following me, and brands started being interested in what I was doing and what I was trying to share with the people that were following me. And it kind of became a job. And I was the first to be surprised because at first I was like anyone else in that amateur sport, is that you buy your own gear, you buy your plane ticket, you buy your bike, and you go out there and you spend, if you go say to race the Tour Divide, you spend thousands of dollars to at the end win absolutely nothing, because there's no prize money in the sport. And then I was like everyone else. I was putting my own money into this, and then I started actually having sponsors that were interested in what I was doing, and that allowed me to actually build a career, but also build like my own community of followers and share with these adventure with them. And ultimately, after much trouble due to COVID mostly, I was able to go back to that Tour Divide in 2022, so 6 years after my first attempt, and I was able to win it. And I was able to, and in the meantime, like, things happened so weirdly for me that I got caught up in that whole becoming a professional bike packer that I wanted, and I immediately went on to think about the next race, because I kind of had forgotten that the Tour Divide was kind of the big goal of my life, and now my life was something completely different. It was about being the best ultra racer or stuff like that. So I went on, won more races, and in a way, I it's kind of hard to explain, but I was started to think about why. Not why do I do this? I do it because I like it, which is something weird. Because why would you like something that is so hard, so painful? Why would you like going to the extreme places of discomfort? Why would you like something where you can't sleep? Why would you like something where you have to ride sometimes an entire day without food because you missed a resupply?
Okay, so what's the answer is? So why did you do it? You started with the...
No, the question is not why do I do it.
What for?
Why do I do it because I like it.
Yeah.
But the question is why do I like it?
So why do you like it?
Why do I like it? That's a
Yeah.
good question. And I'm not really sure. But I feel that, I mean, I was born in France in the early 80s from immigrant parents, but still I had like a normal life. I went to a nice school, I had good grades. And then I went to university and I studied and I got a job and
What's the answer is?
everything was easy.
Yeah.
Everything was easy. You know? Everything was easy.
You would like to test yourself.
I was when I was a kid, there was always food on the table. I always had a roof. When I was doing when I was going to school, I didn't really study hard to have good grades. When I got my degree, it was not that hard. I didn't like have to look too long for a job. Like life was easy. I mean, I have to admit that I was born on the right side of the world, you know? Like there's a ton of people, there's like billions of people that don't have it as easy. And some people just like it's easy and it's okay for them. It's okay for them to have it easy. And I guess that for me it was not okay. Because when it's easy, it's just like I don't feel like I'm alive, you know? I need the adventure. But it's an adventure